can edit this out.
I'm not editing that out.
Yes, we
It's
are.
straight run.
Okay. So what we talk about?
Talking about you, me, us, whatever you want to talk about.
What about us?
I don't know. What you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Alright, state your name for the people watching.
My name is Uniqua, aka Ya, aka Yaniqua, aka Short Stacks.
Who call you those things?
My family and my friends, aka some other stuff that people don't need
What
to
other stuff?
know.
What other stuff?
My nickname.
What's your nickname?
I'm not saying them on here
Why not?
because it's personal.
Okay. Short stacks.
Mhm.
Looking good.
Thank you.
I'm Jeremy,
AKA.
aka Jus'Black.
Mhm.
That's it.
eBay Udoka.
Ime
Or
Udoka.
whoever.
No Ime.
Udoka.
No Ime Udoka is.
A basketball player that cheated on me alone.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's close enough. That's better than I thought.
I don't know who he played for.
He don't play for nobody. He was a coach. He did play back in the day. He was like a
Oh, he was a coach.
yeah. He's what they
Oh.
call like a role player.
For what team?
I don't even know. I don't even know what team he played for. I think he was a journeyman.
But what team was he coaching?
He was coaching the Boston Celtics.
Oh, okay. I never liked the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, he's coaching the Boston Celtics, and I guess he was with Neil Long for 13 years, 15 years, something like that. And basically the Boston Celtics, they basically outed him and they suspended him indefinitely, which is like that don't happen. It's unprecedented. Meaning they suspended him until they decide to not suspend until they decide he can come back and not come back, but he probably won't ever come back. But if they the way the contracts work, if they fire him, especially something like this where they fired him where it wasn't necessarily a breach of contract, it was just kind of messed up. Like so basically what he did, he was found out to have been having an affair with multiple women that work for.
That's what you want to be known as?
No, he just got a interesting name.
Of all the people who got interesting names.
Yeah, but it's current. It's current. See, that's the thing. My woman, the love of my life. She's very literal. And she's what I call I don't get it. You know, when it's something that's like silly or of no consequence, she just don't get it, and she's just like, I don't get it.
But it's not a matter of not getting anything. It's a matter of getting a lot. I am very literal. So of all the interesting names, you choose something that's current in a negative light to name yourself, which is interesting to me. It's not funny. It's
not necessarily a negative light, because the reality is men cheat on their women's all the time, every day. There's men cheating on their women right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it's not necessarily that he cheated. It's really an encapsulation of all the things all the variables in place, and what his name stands for at this moment is like he's almost like I don't want to say laughing stock, but he's like a joke. It's like if when you say his name, you know exactly who I'm referring to, and it's like, and it's kind of the irony of it is what you just said. Like, why would out of all the names, it's one of those things. So it's not even like necessarily him specifically, but he cheated on his girlfriend of 15 years, his fiance. His fiance happens to be Nia Long, who, especially at least in the black, I don't know how it is in the white community, but Nia Long is like iconically attractive. She's like a beauty icon for black people. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So he cheated on her. So naturally people would be like, why would you cheat on Nia Long? Who would cheat on Nia Long? Even though.
So naturally, I'm like, why would you name yourself that? Why would that be an AKA, a new AKA? Like,
because I'm explaining it to you. See what I mean? See, it's one of those things where he cheated on Nia Long. He cheated on Nia Long with the boss's wife when he was a rookie coach who was due for a new payday. So he was making like a rookie. He was probably making like $5 million, something like that. That number was because he took his team to the finals last year. So that rookie contract was probably going to balloon to somewhere like 10, 11, 12 million. So he fumbled the bag, and he has an interesting name, and so he's synonymous for all these things. And so when I say that, it's kind of like it's almost like it's like surprising and shocking. Like, why the hell would you? Ime Udoka is like that. That's what it is. So it's not meant to be like super like you want to be Ime Udoka. It's more like a funny thing. It's like.
See, it's not that I don't have a sense of humor. It's just what's funny to Jeremy is not funny to me. That's not funny. Like, all those things you just named were cringy things. Like,
right.
And that the humor in it is that's his AKA. Like, he AKA himself as that out of the humor of all this cringiness. But for me, it's just like my name represents who I am. So for me to name something after myself, it is part of a representation of who I am. So it's not necessarily like a thing of being deep or woke or
that's what you just said is real deep.
How is it deep?
Because
that's just the truth of what it is.
No, that's why I try to explain to you all the time. It's the truth in what it is for you. So like for you saying like, oh, all these things are cringy, and in reality it's just a moment in time. Because reality is Ime Udoka is not the first person to cheat on his girlfriend, not the first one to cheat on somebody that people revere as attractive or uncheatable. Not the first person to fumble the bag. So none of these things. It's not even like a matter of like. It's not necessarily cringy to me. It's more like he's human. He just had a human moment. Just like Martin Luther King cheated on his wife multiple times. That doesn't take away from Martin Luther King. Doesn't take away from who he is. It's not cringy. Like, we don't like to talk about it, but the reality is he cheated on his wife with a bunch of women. A lot of the women were white women. So when you put it in that kind of perspective, it's not even. It's really like so like a lot of times I'll say something, it'll be like a joke, or it'll be like sarcasm, or it'll be like lighthearted, but it'll be an embodiment of how I think about larger things like Martin Luther King. You know what I mean?
I guess.
So the point is like, when you looking at it like, oh, why would you want to be named like somebody like that? It's all. It's not.
Why would you want to be named like somebody like that? It's just, you said that's a moment in time. Why would you want to attach yourself to that part of the moment in time? Like, you attach that part to you.
It's because it's not about attaching myself to that. It's literally just like, he has an interesting name and it's a current thing. So when I say that name, it's surprising. It brings up all the questions that you saying, all these things that all the questions that you have and what you're saying. It makes your mind do that, and then the moment's gone. So it's not like it's not meant to be held on to and like really dissected and really deep. And why would you want to dissect yourself to that? And my name is my name, and it's all those things are true. But that's what makes it like funny, because there's gonna be people who go to that edge of the earth, that deep. There's gonna be somebody who just knows that funny name, or it's gonna be somebody who don't know anything about it, and they make them look into it and they see what it is. Or all these things. So it's just like a entertainment factor. It's not even It's not even meant to be like cut in that many ways. That makes sense. See, so there lies the problem. So for you guys can see, and I'm glad we started with that, so like people can gotta get an idea because
we think differently,
right? And see the thing is, see how simple she said we think differently, and she said it like that. The reality is that's the truth.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing for her. It's not a big thing for me.
I mean, I'm okay with thinking differently. It's just that I am okay with the fact that we think differently and we don't have to agree. We can just agree to disagree. That is what I'm okay with.
I don't think you're okay with that.
I am. I don't think that's what you're okay with. The fact that when you say you understand, I say no. You say that's the problem.
No, it's because the thing is, I have accepted that we think differently and that this won't resonate to you at all. Your problem is you would like for me to still explain it to you. And then when we get to the end, I'm like, do you understand what I mean? And you like, no.
I mean, I heard you out, but I don't have to understand what you mean.
Right. So,
but I still want to hear your perspective.
Right, but you don't. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be heard out because like the whole point is it's not that important in the grand scheme because you're not gonna get it. It's not gonna resonate with you, and that's okay.
So this is the reason why a lot of things are not discussed because he feel like it doesn't have to be heard out because I don't understand his perspective. But I like to hear it out. I feel like I don't have to understand it to hear it. I don't have to agree or understand, but I would like to take it in. Maybe I won't understand it now, maybe I'll understand it later, but we here right now, so I would like to be able to have the dialogue about it, take it in, process it, and maybe if that happens later, it do. If it don't, it don't, and that is what it is. But at least like I have given myself a chance to hear you out.
Right. So here's the thing. So this is the part, and we'll never. This will never be settled because she's gonna always fight me on this, and the whole point is if it's just so when she asked me like he made dope in AKs, so people who don't know who only watch this channel or watch this video for this, I do multiple podcasts. One of the podcasts is the Arrogant Asshole podcast. With my partner D-Ruck, who's a rapper and comedian from Orlando, and we do AKAs at the beginning of the show, and they're like the whole point of the AKAs is that they're ironic, like they're not really AKAs, like nobody, like I'm not also known as these things, but it's funny to say I'm also known as the dark skinned genuine. Obviously, I'm not known as the dark-skinned genuine. It's meant to be tongue-in-cheek, funny, like you're not genuine, or AKA sex, the young sex symbol. I'm not known as a young sex symbol, although I am a young sex symbol. Wouldn't you agree?
Continue.
She agrees. So when she pulls that out of that, it becomes like, because the whole point of it is to be ironic, to pull that out of that and then want me to dissect it, it's like, no, it's meant to be like, doesn't make any sense. It's meant to be ironic. It's meant to be like, why would you say that? It's meant that's as far as that's supposed to go. It's meant to be that. And so a lot of times I'll just be like, because it's hard to explain that wrinkle of the detail to her because she's so literal.
Because that wrinkle of a detail is a wrinkle of who you are. It's a wrinkle in the fabric of who you are. That is the part that I have not fully like tapped into, or even like, to be honest, like just accepted that. Like,
right.
okay.
So there it is. See, and that is the fundamental problem, because some things like so to just a little bit about myself. I have broadcasted, I've entertained people my whole life. From 3rd grade, 4th grade, I was Martin Luther King in the play, ironically. I was an anchor on morning announcements, and I've done terrestrial radio, syndicated radio. I've acted, done these things. I've hosted events. I've hosted comedy events. I did stand up. Did all these things that are entertaining. And so a lot of these things that encompass or embody me are I'll speak in irony or with stories of sarcasm or hyperbole or super comparison to things that don't compare to each other, like these kind of things to explain an idea, to make you laugh, to further a conversation, to gather your attention, to continue a conversation, to continue a show, to end the show, to transition to something. So some of these things are a lot of these things, they don't resonate with her because they don't have anything to do with what she does on a regular basis.
Okay, so hold on, because just like you have started in performing arts and have done a lot of performing arts, so have I. It's just been a different sector of the performing arts for myself. And I have spoken in front of people and had conversations with people and in front of people, and I think it's just a matter of being around different crowds and just processing things differently.
Right. So it's also, see, this is the thing, and I'm glad you said I haven't accepted this such, because the fact that you feel like you have to accept that.
No, I didn't. That's you implying that. No, I never said I feel like I have to accept anything, because I realize that I don't. Like I said from the beginning, I'm okay with just agreeing to disagree. I don't have to accept that. I can just say that's you. But that's how you think. And just allow you to. I
don't think you agree to disagree, and I think because you said accept. So like you really think that, like, or just to put it frankly, you'll be like, you in your mind, that's not funny, and that is fine. But
I know it's funny to a lot of people,
right?
But also I know that, like, because it's a wrinkle in time, it's a part of time right now. It's something that's trendy right now that you hop on. I'm not one of those people. I know nothing about the trends. I'm not.
Look, and I'm glad you're saying this, because that's not true. Because you do know about the trends. You just were listening to Meg Thee Stallion and all the trendy hot girl music, which is fine. The thing is, you just not into things that you're not privy to things that I know, and that's fine.
No, I'm not privy to a lot of things. Like, those are things that I come across. I let that play, and different songs was playing, like different things popping up on the playlist from YouTube based on what's trending.
It was all hot girl music.
Yeah, because I played one song, Lick, because I know that song because I follow a dancer and she did a dance to that song, so I went and found it. So, and then all these other songs start playing based on that. But like, I didn't know who that eBay, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was Whitney Alone. I didn't know any of that until you made a video about it, so I started asking you questions. Even with the whole, since you brought up Meg Thee Stallion, the whole trial shit, I ain't know nothing about none of that. I knew nothing. I didn't watch a single video. I was not following any of it. I knew nothing about any of it because I literally just don't like.
Right. So the whole point and what I try to like get you to understand, and there is a, first of all, I grew up in an eclectic environment. So I grew up poor with poor black people in a very affluent area, which is a culture shock in itself. And so and then I also so growing up in that environment, I speak a certain way. I understand certain walks of life because I'm from those walks of life. I also have friends who very rich, very wealthy, come from old money, so they've always been rich, they've always been wealthy, so their walk of life and their experience is different. Or people, musicians, and so I grew up around, or I've been friendly, or I have built relationships with different people who, and so when I talk, I may joke in a style that is not necessarily of our culture. I may say I may have like some dry humor or sarcasm or a joke or of a reference that people from my side of the tracks wouldn't even get that reference, and then vice versa. And so it's one of those things where I'm okay with it not landing and you understand it. And the disconnect is when I'm trying to explain to you that this is not deep enough for you to even have to understand, because it's not a big deal. Now, if it's something deep about, like if it's about like family or raising children or something like that, where it's important that we have an understanding and get on the same page, then we can dive deep in that. But if it's just like the reverse engineering of a joke or a statement or a phrase, it's okay that we don't communicate in that way.
What I was saying is that there are people that follow the trends, that know what's trendy, and they engage in those trends with other people. A lot of the things that are trendy have a way of like causing a conversation, even triggering people, but ultimately causing a conversation, creating a conversation around a lot of trendy things. And a lot of the times it is because certain things trigger people to respond. It triggers them to respond. Something in them feels like they have to say something, respond, and then people go back and forth. Now, I know that I am one of those people that will see that and I will be triggered to respond. So I just don't. Like, I just decide I'm not gonna fall into the trends and the things, and I'm not gonna go into that because I just choose not to. And I decided that, okay, I will decide what I'm going to do and what I will put out, and if it is on trend or off trend, then it is what it is. I'm just gonna do me. But whenever people post things and it is going along with the trends, or it is put out to create a conversation, especially you being one of those people, I want to know, from what position are you putting this out? Like, from what position? Because I feel like there's always a position, especially when it comes to black people, because black people easily gonna be triggered or easily go against each other.
And that is the fundamental disconnect, because in most cases I don't have a definitive position on trends and hot topics. I have an overall belief in how it all works, and so trying to explain that, it gets lost in translation. So it's one, and I think that's why I don't like to get into it with you about these things, because that's the basic part that you don't understand, that I don't really care about that.
But see, that's hard for me to. it's hard for me to believe that, because that's like how you said, like you are on podcasts and everybody talk about your social media and the staring of conversations or the triggering of things and the hilariousnesses and all of those things. You are there. No, that does not bother me. But you are there. What bothers me is when you say you don't care about that. You don't have a position in that. But that's where you are. That's like you are occupied in that space a lot of the time. So to not really have any kind of feelings towards it, or to like kind of present it in a way like that's disconnected from you. No, it's not. But that's feels untrue to me.
But that's the problem, and that's why I remove myself from even going back and forth with you about these things, because you think that you have to have an emotional connection to have a conversation, and you don't.
What you mean by emotional?
Like you think that. Like you think that because we're having a conversation and we disagree, or we're talking about something and we disagree, or even if it gets to a passionate thing, that it has to be that I have an emotional attachment to one side or the other.
What do you mean by emotional is what I asked you.
Meaning that, just like you explained, that I care. You just said I find it hard to believe that you detach from that, or that you don't care. And the reality is I don't. Like for instance,
attachment is not always emotional.
But the thing is, I don't have an attachment at all. So it's like put it like this. So I was at the barbershop, and Devin's wife was there, and Chris's partner was there. His wife. They have an arrangement. That's basically his wife. We won't go too deep into that. That's his wife. So it's multiple women there, but it's those two women, and there's other women. It's like women that work there, that kind of thing. And Devin's wife was talking about marriage, and like marriage is just contract going to whoop. She's just basically explaining she don't agree with marriage, and then her and Devin had to have an understanding about marriage. Great, cool. The other person who is not who she has an agreement. They basically have a covenant together, but they're not on paper married. So they essentially believe, based on what they're saying, based on how she's living, they believe basically that. And so we're talking about marriage, and I was basically agreeing with them, but saying it in my way, and then not Devin's wife, but Chris's wife goes, "Oh yeah, ex-wife must have hurt you bad."
So when you say saying it in your way, what was that?
Basically, I was saying that marriage was never designed to be like a partnership, or it was literally a business arrangement from its inception, right? And if you I think I said if you don't have any assets to join, you shouldn't get married. Like basically, if you broke, you shouldn't get married. And just a few other anecdotes, and she didn't respond to any of these things. It's just that the conversation in general, and so when she felt like she wasn't like in control of the conversation, she goes, "Oh, your ex-wife must hurt you bad." And it was like I didn't mention a woman, I didn't mention a man, I didn't say women ain't shit, I didn't say this is that and this is this. I was just talking about marriage as an institution. And so if you're arguing an adverse opinion, or an opinion that someone would disagree with, even if I was arguing the opposite argument, I wouldn't take like a shot at you as a person or what you think about. Or I wouldn't take it like, oh, you hate men if you have a position about women. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. Like it becomes an emotional attachment when it's no longer about a conversation, and you start attacking. But
that's not what I'm saying. See, when I say attachment, I don't necessarily mean emotional. I mean attachment, period. That can be spiritual, that can mean physical attachment, like where you pick up your phone when you wake up in the morning. How quick do you go to Facebook before you do anything else? Like that's an attachment. It doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to be you attacking a certain group, or you feeling offended by a certain thing, or posting because of a hurt or this or that or whatever the case is. It doesn't have to be that. It's just an attachment to it. So because there is an attachment to it, then it has to mean something to you.
But it doesn't. And I think, and because you believe that, I can't shake you of that belief.
And that's fine. And that's fine, because I'm not to be shaken of a belief. It's just you believe it don't, I believe it do. And I'll ask you about a thing that you say or post or refer to or whatever, and you can decide if you want to let me hear your perspective or not. And you choose not to because I feel that, like you say, you can't shake me of how I believe or how I see it, or I won't understand how you see it. But for me, I understand that we're not gonna always understand each other. But I would like to at least hear it, so that I'm not just in my way of just feeling a way and this and that, and I haven't even heard how you are thinking about this and how you are processing this and what your intentions are in these things.
That's why it's really hard, because I'm gonna try to say this as clear as I can say it. Majority of the time, I'm coming from a place of observation. So I literally just observe what the Matrix is highlighting, and then I make a comment or an observation on it. And it's wrapped in my perspective and how I think of things, and then also how I articulate it. For whatever reason, it's not for whatever reason. It's the way that you hear me. You don't always get what I'm saying. And what I try to tell you and try to drill into your head, that is okay. What I try to explain to you is, if it's of no consequence, like it's not going to make us homeless, it's not going to make us anything, it's no.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, because when you was referring to conversations to have about me, you referred to the family or the home or being homeless. We can be more than that. Our conversations can be more than just what's happening here in the family. The bills are paid, like being homeless, like no, that's just some domestic shit.
Right, but what I'm saying is, the whole point is this. So when I bring up the barbershop conversation, the reason why I bring up that barbershop conversation is because if we're having a conversation about an idea and you turn that into a personal thing, like you think like that, so this is a part of you, and really it's just an observation on a construct that I don't believe in anyway. So in that case, it became a verbal shot at me because I'm expressing an idea about a construct that I don't even believe in. So when she said that, I just laughed it off and I moved on, because I realized that we're no longer having a conversation. It's become like you're emotionally attached to that conversation, either because you just want to be right, you didn't understand what I was saying. Not you, but in that situation, you didn't understand what I was saying. Somewhere I lost you, and you felt inadequate because you thought that it sounded smart and you didn't get it, so you must not be. Like, a lot of things happen in people's minds when you having a conversation, and so when that happens, I remove myself from that because it's no longer about me. It's no longer about the conversation. It's become something else. So in the same, so what's frustrating is when I'm talking to you and you ask me something, and then I'm like, if my foundation, I'm coming from the premise of these are all just constructs, and I don't necessarily believe in any of the constructs, and we just kind of exist in this matrix, and these constructs exist because of the matrix, and I'm making an observation based on that principle, then it's not an attachment to it.
So, but this is the thing. To make an observation based on something that is being observed, that's one thing. But to make an observation based on an observation, like based on something that you're observing this, you're making a comment about it based on what you're observing, but this is actually, you're within it. That's another thing.
Right.
So when you are within something as well, when these are your lived experiences, there is an attachment. You may not be aware that there is, or you may feel like you are speaking from a very objective point of view, but I don't think that all the time it is. And I feel like, even like, the thing with women is that, and I'm just gonna say women or people that are more emotionally sensitive, we can easily it's easier for us to express our emotions, but the triggering of the emotions is an equal thing between men and women, but we more easily express that. But men, they will still have these emotions and try to express it in logic, and we are also more easily to pick up on underlying emotions. When men think that they're speaking in logic, when really there's underlying things, emotions that's attached to these things, it's easier for us to sense those things because we are able to.
Unique. I agree.
So she may have.
No, but listen.
Okay.
That's.
Hold on, can we pause for 1 second? Because I need to close these blinds because I don't like people being able to see.
Nobody's looking at me.
Yeah, but people can see everything here, and I don't like it.
Okay. So again, I agree. That is so. This is what I try to explain to you. That's why it's important of the proper union, male and female, masculine and feminine. Because listen, don't sigh, none of that.
No, I'm listening.
That's why it's important. That the thing is, I understand what you just said, but it's also important that you understand the logic in it, and then we can have a conversation.
But what is the logic in it?
That's the so. The conversation is this. It's understanding that you are more in your feminine than your masculine, and I am vice versa. So the conversation is finding the balance in that conversation. It's finding the logic and finding the emotion and finding how to properly marry those different dynamics. That's what a conversation is. So my toxic trait is if I feel like you are so emotional that you can't get the logic, I'll just remove myself from the conversation because I don't like to go into a deep knockout, drag out conversation that we're not going to enter into honestly.
So, and my thing, and this is not necessarily a toxic trait,
it's a toxic trait.
It's not. I am literal literal. That doesn't mean I'm emotional, overly emotional. I know that I'm emotional.
That's a toxic
I
trait.
know that I'm emotional, but I am literal. So when you are explaining things, if it's logical, of course I'm gonna understand it. But you always, I speak in hyperbole, I speak in metaphor, all this and that. But you do that to not be able to say, oh, there's really no logic to this. This is just a metaphor. This, and I'm looking for the logic.
That's not true. And that's why it's frustrating, because I'm glad that's what you think of the conversation, and that's why it frustrates me, because if I'm explaining to you in hyperbole, or I'm explaining to you with sarcasm, I'm saying it because that is the logic.
If you explaining something that's logical and sarcasm and hyperbole and metaphors and all this and that, then you can't feel a way if I feel emotional. If you can't just simply say it in black and white, if it's so logical.
Because look, the biggest artist of confusion and communication is words. It's literal. This word means that, so this is what this means. So even in the Bible, the parable of the ladder of Babel, where we get the word Babel from, when you just speaking words incoherently, you just saying things that don't line up together. They got further from the glory of God or divinity the higher the ladder got, and it's because all these words and words and etymology, you get caught up in that stuff, you'll get lost in that, because words are old. And they come from older words, and they come from older words, and they come from older words, and they come from older sounds. Things get lost in translation because of that. That's why sarcasm exists. That's why irony exists. That's why hyperbole exists, because it's like the abstract glue to words. So it's that's why in every civilization, every ancient culture, from the Mayans to the Native Americans to Yoruba tribes, all over the world for centuries, there has always been a section of society that was meant for gesture, funny, irony, funny guys, the speaker that entertains, because he's able to translate serious messages in a lighthearted way. That stretches into every single culture for the history of history.
So that means that words matter then.
Right. So
if people are storytelling, people are giving different types of proverbs, and so you kind of miss me. So hear me. Words matter. Context matters. But also, words can be concrete when life ain't concrete. When there is abstract ideas. Emotions aren't concrete. They're abstract. They're hard to explain. You can't explain. That's why there's a trillion love songs and there'll be a trillion more. Because it is the disconnect between male and female and human beings is that we'll always be trying to figure out how to say what we're trying to say. And because I know that, I don't necessarily take it personal. Don't mean I always don't take it personal, but I try not to. Because I know that we are having a human experience, and we are slaves to Babel, and we are slaves to the definition of things. That's how we find ourselves in this whole LGBT and this all that stuff. Not to get too deep into that, but it's because we have tried to define things that are beyond definition. Male and female are beyond definition. We are all androgynous, we're both male, female at the same time. But if we try to define it without having a true understanding that defies words, will be lost in translation. So it's almost a catch-22 where
Words matter.
So what is a true understanding that defies words? What does that mean to you?
That's what it means. It means it's for lack of a better term, it's like abstract. It defies words. It's like it's like a divine understanding that has nothing to do with your mind, or it has partly to do with your mind, but more about other variables. So it's like that, like the idea of balance is deeper than just explaining balance, and that's why we disconnect. In general, why we all disconnect, because we think that balance is just this definition. It weighs the same as it weighs over here. Yeah, but it's a deeper meaning to that.
So everything you saying is how I process things. So when you are saying having like a deeper meaning or understanding that defies words, when words start to be spoken, I automatically am looking for that understanding beyond those words. So it's like you will utilize these words to, I don't know, to create a conversation or to be playing games in the matrix, because these words are part of this matrix. But I am having this understanding that is beyond this. So why choose these words? Like, why operate in this way if you have this understanding that's beyond that, that's felt?
But that is the trickery of words, is that babble, is you feel like you're using words differently than I'm using words, because I'm using different ways to use words. So listen what you just said. What you just said, look at me. What you just said, that's the disconnect, is because what you processed and then you said with your mouth may come into my ears, into my cerebral, and I may process it completely different than you intended it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So because that is the reality, and that's how it works sometimes. It requires constant clarification.
See, the word that you use is clarification. The word that I use is disconnection. Constant disconnection from the words, and the participating in the matrix in that way of like just getting people to go back and forth or be triggered by words, or because there is an attachment to these things.
No,
so for me,
so when you say these things, that's how you observe it. And so like when you observe it that way, then I can't change your mind. That's your business. But the reality is, if I
your reality.
No, okay, yes, it's my reality. We speaking, when I say the reality, I'm speaking about my reality.
Yeah, but you say I observe something, but the reality is like I'm observing something that's different from the reality.
Okay, so
how you are observing it versus how I'm observing.
Listen to what I'm saying, Uniqua. What I'm saying to you is, if I introduce an idea of how I see something, or in general, and then if people disagree with each other on my post, I'm not inciting a riot. I'm inciting a conversation. And so then in some place we'll find a common ground.
Will you? Do they? How often is that?
No, listen, sometimes they don't. Sometimes people don't. That's what it is. There's no. We not gonna always find each other at the same place in every single time.
Yeah, I understand that, but You just spoke it like those were your intentions.
But no, it's not. This is my intentions. And when you say these things, that's why we have a problem, because you think that my intentions is to affect anybody but myself, and it's not. And what I believe is that should be nobody's intentions to affect anybody but yourself, because the work is done with yourself. You're gonna grow by yourself.
So what's your intention?
I just explained it to you. I just said my intention is growth in myself.
So those are your intentions for posts on social media?
Yeah, it's if I post on social media, it's an idea that I had based on what I just observed. It's not. And from that observation, things will grow from it. It may add to somebody's perspective. It may challenge somebody's perspective. It may do multiple things to multiple people with different perspectives, and they will find themselves somewhere else. I can't guide you there. I can't take you there. I can't tell you what you're supposed to do. I can't tell you what you're supposed to think. I religiously will say I don't know, and that's the whole point. I can't be in control of where your mind takes you. And I'm not offended by where it takes you. So when I say I'm not attached, that's what I mean. Like I'm not offended by what your mind takes you. Does that make sense?
Does it have to?
Definitely.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
Okay, so why ask me?
I mean, because it could make sense to you, and then okay. But if it doesn't, then okay.
I hear you.
That's all.
Okay.
And I hear you.
All right.
See, she's so serious.
Of course, I'm serious.
Take a deep breath.
I am able to take a deep breath. It's just okay. Okay.
That's the only thing I be trying to get you to see is no matter what, don't take it personal.
I don't take it personal.
But
I don't take it personal.
I think you do though. I think you do.
Take what personal?
Just in general. If like just like that, just like how you respond. Take what personal?
Cause you said you do think I take something personal, so you are talking about me personally. So I'm asking, take
right.
what personal?
No, so when I say don't take it personal, even if and these are principles that I think you understand. Even if it's something directed at you, it is a product, and it is because of who is talking to you. It has nothing to do with you, and that's with everything.
So that's something that I do understand. That's something that I realize. That's why I said it's okay to disagree, because, and that's also why I said that if you are making an observation of something that you're a part of, then your observation is going to be connected to the part of you that's connected to it, the life that you experienced that brought on this observation for you. So that's, I understand those things. I'm okay with if people want to feel how they feel or say what they say or whatever the case may be. They can think how they want to think. They can feel how they feel. That doesn't mean I feel that way or it's an attack on me, or that's how they feel. I get that. I understand that. But just like y'all say, you get what you are the moment you are that thing.
Of course.
That What does that mean?
But that's
how is that different, and how is that the same?
But that's the point though. It's like no matter what, it's gonna be based on. Even if you observing something that you have seen or been a part of, or you're a part of, it's part of your environment, part of your understanding. You're going to observe it because you recognize it. If you're going to observe it solely because you recognize it. And so when I say don't take it personal, it's because when you recognize something, and you voice, hey, you did this and I don't like that, or I don't agree or disagree, it's because you recognize it. And so don't take it personal, or even referring to the 4 agreements, don't take anything personal, is understanding that whatever is triggering you is because of some work that you have to do with yourself. And again, that's okay. I always I think that, and this is why the reason why I carry certain things, like interactions with you, is because it's some things that you do. It's some things that you do. I have done. I've been there. So I get that thought process, and perhaps a part of me is still there and I don't realize it. So I allow that moment to be what it is because it's just a moment that you're living through.
But you don't. Because you always come back to, do you understand, or what I'm trying to drill in your head, or like all these things, like you want me to think where you are now, or to have the perspective.
No, but I don't. That's the thing is.
So you don't just allow me to just be where I am. You don't.
But it's unique. I don't want you to be where I am. I don't even believe in that, to like be where I am, like I'm above or I'm below or I'm away from. What I'm saying is just like what you're saying, where you like or when you say I haven't accepted that. I don't want you to think how I think. I think it's important that you think how you think. So that it provides balance to whatever I think, and vice versa. And what's frustrating is when you think that we have to think the same thing.
I never do.
But I
never do. I just want to know where that's the thing. I want to know what your perspective is. You feel that I feel I want to think how you think or agree with you, and then you choose not to say anything because you know that I don't think how you think. Nope. So you choose not to even express, and you do choose that. No. So
that's what unique. Again, we have conversations like this. If I decline to have a conversation about something, it becomes, you never want to talk about that, but we talk about things. So if you would like to do this every Thursday where we plan and we sit down and we talk, that's what we can do. But if I worked all day, I'm fried. I just am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
And we talked about this. A lot of it is, I'm realizing now, a lot of it where I feel like I was going through the motions and I feel like I'm having a moment where I'm just like functionally depressed, and so having to have constant noise or not really seeing the day, and then after a long day coming home, or just having to access conversations when I'm fried.
This goes back to that Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. When she said lie to me, I don't necessarily want to be lied to, but I see you come home from work, take a shower, go out, hit the podcast, have conversations with people. I don't know if you consider yourself fried on those days, or those days you just pucker up and do what you gotta do. But for me, it's the excuse of, it's been a long day, I'm fried, I'm tired, and I'm like I said, I'm learning not to take things personal. I'm okay with that.
But
it just is what it is.
I think because even I'm gonna be very honest with you. When I'm telling you this, and then you respond by saying it's an excuse, and you you fried, or it's and it may not be intentional. You may not feel like this. This is how I'm receiving it. It's dismissive, and so I don't want to put myself in a position to be dismissed.
Why are you perceiving it in that way?
Because it's not like, again, it's not you. Like, it's like really what you said is a natural reaction, because you not in my head, or you're not so when you say like, oh, you go do a podcast, you do this, you come on, or so from your vantage point, then he must be fine. He just don't want to talk to me.
I didn't say that.
But
from my vantage point,
I'm not saying what you said. I'm saying how I took it.
Okay, so from my vantage point is that, not that you must be fine, because I don't even take, like she said, lie to me, you lying to them. So my thing is, I know that you're not fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I see that you get yourself together and you go do that when you're not fine.
But it's not. But
I'm not finished. But when it comes to me, you don't give that same energy, which is okay, because at least you can be honest with. Now you're being honest with, this is where I am. This is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on, and I accept that. Okay. But before me knowing those things, because you just opened up to me about this recently. So before me knowing those things, I see that and me still knowing that something you're not okay, because I know that about you. I have known that about you for a minute. And to see that you get up and you go and you do those things, but then you come to me and you're fried. My perspective on this is not to dismiss you. my perspective on this is that I am not valued enough by you to open up and to be true to me with where you are,
So
how you feel, and what's really going on with you. But I learned that has nothing to do with me, and if that's how you feel, to allow you to feel that and to detach myself from that so that I don't feel away.
But this is the thing. When you, that's why I say don't take it personal, because in that you are taking it personal.
How and what?
But just listen. So I was talking to a close friend of mine, and he had he's been doing therapy for certain circumstances. He does therapy, and so when he's explaining to me the trauma response to just be busy, to just remain busy. So you don't have to be still. And I think, and what I was getting at when I said that it's a natural response, I'm not taking offense to it. I really just want to like bring it to your attention, so I don't want you to feel like it's an attack. But it's like when you say, oh, you go do the podcast, you go do this. It's not really realizing that I'm not any less depressed. It's just a trauma response to have something to do, and most times I still don't have the energy to do it. I'm supposed to be podcasting right now. So it's not something that I think that you understand, and I also don't think that you understand that having these moments and just having to be out at work and just dealing with everything in the world, when I come home to you, I'm serious. When I come home to you, and I come home to my family, especially when my son is here, I may not even say anything to you guys, but it's just because I feel 1,000 pounds lighter. It's like an exhale. So when you say that I don't care enough to, and it's really because when I'm with you, this is the only time that I could just because every other time is just so hard. It's so hard, and I don't think that you realize how much you take that weight off of me, and I don't know how to explain it to you, and that's why I don't fight with you. I don't argue with you, because I just want to exhale. Even if you are in the other room and I'm in one room, just to know that you're here. It's something that is hard to explain. It's hard for you to understand, I'm sure. And
so the thing that I'm gonna say that I acknowledge what you're saying and how you feel, and I have always felt that a goal of mine is to be a safe space and to create safe spaces. I recognize that a space that I am occupying, I do my best to make sure that it is not a chaotic space. I do my best to make sure that you are not required to just work when you get here, because I do realize that that's what you're doing outside. But I want you to know that I do understand everything that you just said. You feel like I don't understand. These are things that I absolutely understand. So much so that I know that, like I said to you before, the things that you are opening up about now as far as functional depression, I've known this about you. Like, these are things, like I was saying in the beginning, that women can more naturally pick up on these types of things, even when you maybe have a mask on, or may have to, and not a mask like something that's fake or not you, but a mask as in like a face to be what you need to be in a given moment. I am still able to know and tell where you are physically, spiritually, and emotionally, especially when we are sexually intimate with each other. So to automatically assume that I don't understand these things is, to me, almost like just a smack in my face.
But that's why. Again, I'll say, to assume that you wouldn't understand, that's my fault. But again, when I say don't take it personal, so when you say, and whether you realize it or not, when you say that's a smack in my face, that's literally you taking it personal.
And I have been, and let me finish, and not just because of that, because you explain when you come home and you're home and you can just breathe and just sigh and relax, even if we're in the other room and things like that. That is your perspective. But then the perspective that we get is you coming home and you still have the weight on your shoulders. You don't come home and drop that before you walk into the door. You come in here still with that. So the interactions that we are having with each other and love and light or laughter does not penetrate you, because you still have that on you. So you are easily triggered by things like I explained to you, when they laughing and joking or they playing chess and they run and they come and tell me about the game and they don't even mention it to you, is because you won't allow yourself to go there. And I know that it's a part of the depression, and it's a part of that doesn't leave when you walk into this door, even though you are now in a space that is safer than out there. And you feel the relief that you don't have to keep doing all these things. That is still on you. It's still on you. And that's what we see. So, and it's necessary for us to have these conversations, because I realize that I only see my perspective. I only see what's in front of me when I'm moving about, when I'm doing things, and you are able to observe me from the outside. And I need that. I need to know that. I need to know these things, because your observations are similar. to my mom's observations or my kids' observations sometimes, like, you know, because y'all are able to see from a different perspective. So when you explain your perspective of what we are and what this space is, when you come home with what you're going through mentally and emotionally, we see you different than that. So if we are seeing you in a way that's different from that, and from how you are perceiving us and how you're perceiving yourself in this space, then that's why these conversations are necessary. So instead of saying, I don't feel that you understand, or I feel that you just don't understand, or just putting it out there like that and not having a conversation as opposed, because of me, your idea of me not understanding frustrates me. And I am trying to not take it personal, but at the same time, it's really hard when we are creating something, when I know that my part is to really make sure that this is a safe space. And I understand what you said, like, you don't feel like I understand how much I relieve that for you. I do. And just going deeper into intimate space, that's what it becomes. So if we're not unpacking these things, and then we do come together, then it's unpacked. And I know it and I feel it, and we're not talking about it. So then I'm feeling things and you're feeling things, and we're not talking about things because we feel like we won't understand each other, and then it does get chaotic. Well, that's what neither of us want.
I agree. I love it. That's it for today.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time.